What's up, my beautiful do life and a body love chicks? So, y'all know I am like the queen of boundaries, right? And just when I thought I couldn't get any more boundaries, I just decided I'm implementing more boundaries. I'm like, when I'm starting the year, right? I like to like think about like what's getting my time and attention and energy and like how do certain things help me? How do certain things help the people around me? What energy does it give me? Does it suck the freaking life out of me or does it light me up? And like, I'm not here to say that like everything needs to feel like puppies and rainbows. I think you guys know that by now. But there are some things that we all do on repeat that do drain us and make us want to gouge our eyeballs out. And they're also not even helpful for anybody else around us, but we just like think that they are. And so this one's about conversations that I am no longer going to be having in 2026. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't have these conversations. And I'm not saying that even if you have these thoughts or need to have these conversations with somebody, that it's bad. It's not. I'm just sharing my boundary and like thinking maybe this will get your guys' wheels turning about things that you don't want to bring with you moving forward into 2026. Or if you're listening to this mid-year, who cares? Like, don't bring it with you into August if it's July, right? Okay, so one conversation that I will not be having in 2026 is basically arguing with people who are dead set that their body is not capable of losing weight. Now, I'm all about encouraging women to be like, look, I get that you feel like your body can't lose weight because you've tried all of these things and the weight always comes back or nothing is working anymore. It is very frustrating and it is very scary. And a lot of women are saying, girl, like my body just won't lose weight, but they don't truly believe it won't. What they're saying is, it feels like nothing will work, but I'm bringing this to you, Nikki, because I believe something possibly could. So help me. I'm here for that conversation. We can have that conversation all day long. I tell my clients all the time, I'm like, your belief is naturally probably going to be a little bit low when you start working with me because you've tried so many things. Borrow my belief and your belief in my methods until you see your own results and then your belief will come. That's fine. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the person who just wants to prove that their body is not capable of losing weight. Like they are convinced that this is genetic and there's nothing that I can do. Or this is menopause and my doctor checked my blood work and he even said that there's nothing that I can do and I've tried all the things and nothing works. If that's where somebody's mindset is at, I can't help them because they're just going to try to prove that that they're right, right? Like they're actually more worried about like protecting this identity of being somebody who it's impossible for than they are in getting a result. That's not a growth oriented mindset. I'm not trying to convince anybody that they're capable of it. I am not going to over explain the science to people. And like, maybe you're like, yeah, well, who cares, Nikki? I don't teach people about weight loss. Yeah, but do you over explain things or try to convince people who really don't actually want a solution? I feel like this is a trap that all of us women fall into is especially if you're a fixer. So like I'm a type A fixer. Like bring me your problems. I will find solutions. This is just like who I am, right? And I think like moms are this way, right? Like if our kids have a problem, like we just want to fix it for them, right? So I think on some level all women know what I'm talking about when I say this, but it's like if somebody that especially if it's somebody that you care about, they have a problem and they're just complaining about it all the time, and like you can clearly see that there's a solution, but they don't actually want to take action on it. They're complaining to you just to complain. And the fixer in you, the carer in you is like, let me fix this for you. Oh my gosh, here's what we can do. No, don't say that. It's totally possible. We can do this. And but we're not realizing is their brain isn't receptive to hearing any of it. And so you probably had people in your life where you've had the same conversation with them for like a year and you're like you eventually you just get annoyed, right? You're like, the answer is so clear. You're choosing not to take action. You're just staying stuck and then whining about it. Oh, this isn't actually a conversation about problem solving. This is just whining. Okay, that doesn't need my energy anymore. That's how I see that. I'm not convincing anybody who wants to stay married to their excuse, basically. Now, here's another conversation I ain't gonna have with anybody, probably ever again, not just in 2026, but this whole idea that like our best years are behind us. Freaking excuse me. I don't give a flying if you are listening to this and you are 40 or you are 50 or you are 75, like some of my clients. You know who you are. Love you. Your best years are not behind you. I'm so tired of this whole narrative that like midlife is awful and our hormones are trash and all we do is gain weight and we have no energy and our boobs just sag and we all need a facelift and life sucks. And it's like, okay, so you actually have control of your body way more than you think that you do. You just got to get on the right page with it, right? And if you need some guidance in that, duh, holler at your girl. That's literally what I do. But like you have so much going for you when you get older that you never had in your youth. Women who are in this like over 40 age bracket have more resources typically, right? You've done the work. You've built the career. You actually have money in your savings account, unlike half of America, and certainly unlike most of us in our 20s, right? You maybe have more time, maybe you don't because you continuously fill your calendar with new things every time something rolls off. Okay, so that's a whole nother year-long coaching container that I could hold for you girls that we could work on that. But maybe you have a little bit more time. The kids are older. They're at least in the phase where they're wiping their own butts. Some of them are even driving cars. Some of them are even gone to college. Some of them might even be moved on to having their own families. And yes, other people still need your time and your attention, but you have more resources. You have a little bit more time. You're more assertive usually. Now, I don't personally relate to this piece because I came out of the womb overly assertive. But what I'm told and what I've seen from watching other women and coaching so many other women is that women tend to step into their own with boundaries and assertiveness and knowing their worth and all of those things the older that they get. And why is that relevant to living our best life? Because you're no longer just doing what every freaking person around you says that you should do. We've already went into the careers that our parents thought that we should go into, and we've already done the hobbies that our husband thought that we should have. And like we're over it, right? We're just like, no, F you. I'm living for me now. I know what I like. I know what I want to be doing with my time. I already placated everybody else's bullshit for the last 40 years. The next 40 years, these ones are for me. Let's freaking go. And I personally believe that like everything just gets better with age. Like, yeah, things get physically harder. They do. Do you need to have things in place to help your body age well? And then it's a blessing. You can feel amazing in your body, have wonderful energy, lube up, have all the sex that you want with your husband, and not get knocked up because you're postmenopausal. Like, this is the best life. Like, there's so much freedom in midlife. What are these women whining about midlife for? Now, I get it. I'm not going to say that I never complain, right? Sometimes I do. I'm like, oh, these hot flashes, girl. We can joke about it. We can have fun with it. We can laugh about the silly things that are happening to our bodies. We can cry it out, the terrible things that are happening too. But like knowing that like it's not all bad. There's good and bad that comes with every single season of life. And we tend to glamorize the past, not just in our own lives. We do this like in general. Like people are like, oh, it would have been so great if we just went back to how people lived in the 1600s or well, pick a time frame. This is going to be very off historically, okay? Because I'm terrible at history, but I'm going to try to illustrate a point here, right? Like we glamorize back in the good old days, the years of ye past. It was so magical. There weren't TVs and Oh, and you know what else there wasn't? Running water, sanitation. People had like 10 kids, not so that they could have a reality show, but because like half of them were going to die, and you needed the other half to help you acquire food. Like you had a big family because it was like your labor force and your chances of survival. And like it wasn't as glamorous as people think. Like raping and pillaging, commonplace. Like, we think we have it rough with women's rights in the year 2026 in America. Hello. You go back to the 1600s, babe, and let me know how that goes. It wasn't great. Were parts of it cool? Sure. By and large, it sucked. We have it better now. And you know what? We're doing the same thing with our own timeline in our lives. Like, yeah, it was cool when you were a teenager and your parents paid all your bills. I mean, yay, I just got fed. I had not a care in the world. I wouldn't go back to that era for anything to save my life. And I am somebody who looks back fondly of like high school and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I had a great time. It was epic. I still wouldn't go back. You couldn't pay me to go back to being 17 and having all these rules and a stupid curfew and all this. Like, I wanted to run my own life. Well, guess what? We're grown ass women. Now we can run our own lives. Let's do it. What do you want your life to look like? Right? What do you want your next decade to be? You get to decide. You're not stuck doing anything that you don't want to do. All right. Listen, belly fat might accrue a lot faster after menopause, but there's things we can do about it. And you might have to lube up to have a little bit of fun if depending on how far into menopause you are. Sure, things change, but can we handle it? Abso-freaking-lutely. We've done harder things than this. And I personally am obsessed with getting older. I love it. I've told my husband this forever. I'm like, I can't wait to be an old lady. He thought I was crazy because I would say this in like my 20s. I'd be like, I can't wait to be an old lady. I'm gonna like knit things on my porch all day and maybe smoke cigarettes and we can have all the sex we want and I'm not gonna get pregnant. And like, I feel like I'm gonna have a lot going on for me when I reach 80 and it's gonna be amazing. And my husband was just like, what is wrong with this 26-year-old who talks like that? Okay, so I'm not quite there. I'm 43. I still feel like I'm gonna make 43 my best year. And then you know what? I'm gonna turn around and make 44 even better than that. And so I don't care if you're 67. I want 67 to be better for you than 62 was. I'm having conversations with women who are like, this is my time. I have so much going for me right now, and I might not have it all figured out yet. I might actually be a little bit of a disaster. Like I might have to burn some ships and rearrange how stuff is going in my life because I built this life and now I kind of want to pivot. Cool. Let's pivot. Let's go. What do you got to do to make it amazing? It ain't gonna be easy. Nothing worth having is, but like this whole like, well, I'm over the hill. I guess I'm just gonna sit around in decay for the next 3 decades until I wither into nothingness. What? I ain't having those kind of conversations. I ain't hanging out with people like that. That ain't my vibe. I don't want to be a part of that. I don't believe that. I don't want that around me. If you want to be Eeyore, be like, cool, love you, go do that someplace else, not in my space. And that brings me to the third conversation I'm not going to be having with anybody. And it's basically, how do I summarize this in one sentence? It's like this whole idea that like everything is outside of your control. Like nothing I can do about it. There's so much more in our own power than what we think. And I like seeing chicks like make bold moves. Like they decide on stuff, they take action, they go for it. Sometimes you're going to fall on your face. Who gives a shit? You're still getting further than everybody who's sitting on their couch not trying anything. But what I can't stand, it literally makes me insane as people getting so worked up about a topic and all they want to do is bitch about it. Sometimes you gotta vent. I totally get that. I'm not saying I'm like never gonna let anybody vent to me. Sometimes people just need to vent. I personally need to learn when to just shut up and let people just vent and not offer my advice, which they say is like what husbands need to work on. They feel like I'm kind of like a guy. So I do need to work on just shutting up and letting people vent. And I'm okay with venting a little bit. What I'm not okay with is venting over and over and over. And then I'm sorry, you want to call me one more time to talk about this same thing that literally all you're doing is complaining. You refuse to take any action because you believe that it's all outside of your control. Then I don't want to talk about it with you. Sorry, then I don't want to talk about it because we all have choices in literally everything. That does not mean that you like the consequences of the choices. They might all suck. Sometimes that's the case, right? You have this situation before you, and option A sucks. So do the consequences that go with picking option A, and option B sucks. It's just a different flavor, and you're choosing between two things that suck, right? But there is still a choice. So, like, I'm gonna be like extreme for a second, okay? You hate your job. Hi, I was a nurse in COVID. This is a very real scenario that I watched play out. Everybody hated their job. We think we have to go to work because you kind of do, right? Like you got to pay your bills, you got kids to feed, all of these things. But the reality is, you don't actually have to go to your job. You don't have to. If your job is sucking the life out of you, you have options. You can find a new job, but that comes with risk too. Like, what if you don't like the other one as much as you like your current one? You just downgraded. If you know that's not possible because your job sucks so bad, then I guess there's really no risk in that, right? But like, you have to play all of this out. You have to go, all right, well, what are all the possibilities? What's the level of suck that could come with making this choice? But what's the upside that I could potentially experience? Like, there's nothing that's ever guaranteed on how it's going to go. Life is just like mitigating risk and like how much risk are you willing to tolerate? You start a new job and it sucks, fine, go start another one. Yeah, you have another option. You can just like quit and you can like live on food stamps and like live in a homeless shelter and like you think that I'm kidding, and I sort of am because I personally wouldn't make that choice. But let's be so clear. That is actually a choice. Some people actually have made that decision to do that. So we think that's wild, but it's like you actually have choices. Sometimes you don't see them. Sometimes you're not capable of thinking outside the box, or you're just not yet. Not that you're not capable, but you're not thinking outside of the box. You need to get creative and think outside the box to be able to make different choices, or you need to believe in yourself enough. You know what the other options are, and you're like, but I don't know if I can pull it off, right? Or you're not making other choices because you're worried about somebody else's feelings, or there's a lot of reasons why we fail to change things that we desperately want to change. And the blanket statement that will layer over it is just that, well, there's nothing I can do about it. It's just the way that it is. And so, again, I'm not saying that's a bad mindset to have. I've had that mindset in certain situations. I'm not immune to any of this either. But I'm not going to try to convince somebody that they have choices. If somebody is like, this, I feel like I don't have a choice, but like there's got to be something else. Help me sort through this. Oh, yes. I love that conversation. I'm obsessed with that conversation. That's why I love coaching, actually. Like, I love it when my calls with my clients end up spiraling into like other things that aren't weight loss. They're weight loss adjacent. They're things that are affecting their ability to lose weight, but we're over here doing executive coaching, or like we're talking about relationships, or like it spirals because it's all weight related. But these are women who are like open to like, hey, this thing feels outside of my control. Like I've been stuck in this rut with like this one thing and I just can't get over it. And something's got to give. All right. Something's got to give. Cool. Now we can talk about it. But as long as somebody is sitting here thinking like nothing I can do about it, then you're right. There is nothing you can do about it because you're married to that excuse and you just want to stay stuck. You don't want to face it. You don't want to make the hard choices. You don't want to think outside the box. It's easier to just complain about it than to do something about it. So I'm guarding my conversational energy this year with friends, with people who I take on as coaching clients, with whomever. It's like I want to have conversations in 2026 with women who are like, you don't got to be in a good mood all the time. By the way, you could be in a bad mood 360 days in 2026, and I could still thoroughly enjoy every single conversation that we're having. It's not about like you always being a positive Polly. It's more like, is the mindset like, yes, I have control, or I'm at least getting ready to take back control of my life, of my body. I refuse to accept this bullshit narrative that just because I'm 65 means I have to gain weight because my doctor just keeps telling me it's fine. It's a normal part of aging. I refuse to accept that. So I'm going to find solutions. And I refuse to accept that my best years are behind me. Then what is the rest of my time on this planet for? No, I want to go live them. I want to live them big. I want to live them bold. I want to live them loud. I'm going to enjoy my life, whatever that looks like for me. And I'm going to be the one who decides what that is from now on, not the people around me. And if there's things that I don't like, I'm going to figure out a way to change them. And if there is something that's outside of my control, truly, because sometimes that is the case, right? I can change how I view it. I can change how I show up in it. I can change how I respond to it. It's just like taking total ownership of our own shit. And that doesn't mean that we don't seek out help and resources. Sometimes that is a part of the strategy, right? But it's having these conversations with other women who are also in a change state. Their mind is open and ready for living their best life. As cliche as that sounds, I know it sounds so cheesy. I'm gonna go live my best life, but so for real, can we? Can we just all go live our best lives, whatever your current age is, whatever your current circumstances are, and be like, I'm actually looking forward to what happens in the next few months, in the next few years, in this next decade of life. I think it's fun and exciting. Like, empty nesting is so barf, right? But then also, it's like, it's a new chapter. And maybe you're rolling into grandparent phase, or like, I don't know, whatever the transitions are that are happening for you right now. They can be scary and they can be weird, but everything always just gets better. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just a crazy person who thinks that things get better with time. But one thing I know for sure is I'm not having conversations with people who have a stuck mindset, who just want to be a negative Nancy and they just want to complain about shit over and over and over. It sucks the life out of me. It sucks the life out of me. I find it to be highly exhausting and it doesn't help anybody. You're not convincing somebody that they can change. You're not convincing somebody that their body is capable of something. You're not convincing somebody that their best years are in front of them and not behind them. These are things people have to choose to believe or not believe for themselves. There's nothing we can say to people to change their mind about it. It has to come from within themselves. And so yeah, I don't know. I'm over it. I'm going to have conversations with people who want to make forward progress. So there's my new, very weird boundary for the upcoming year. And if there are conversations that you keep having over and over and over with people in your life and it's just sucking the soul out of you, maybe this will prompt you to kind of think about that and be like, well, how do I want to handle these conversations? How much of my energy does this need to take up, or time in my day does it need to take up? I don't know, mull it over. And if you're all about going and living your best life in this next year, in this next decade, I would love to hear about it. Go post about it in the Simplified Fat Loss group or shoot me a message on Facebook and let's rally the troops and go live our best midlives ever.